welcome to Cruising with Kayfabe. I'm Mongo.
I'm Emily.
And previously on Cruising with Kayfabe, we did an episode all about the next wave, all about next man up, as we kind of hinted in the episode with Swerve going out for surgery, Ospreay going out for surgery, and the potential Kenny Omega taking some time off, which now has been confirmed. We figured that this road to All Out, this kind of next road so far, has already had some detours. So we figured we would kind of talk about what's happening this week of pro wrestling, because there's been a lot that has happened.
It's a very exciting week, exciting month. All Out has kind of always been a huge part of AEW. Much like All In, All Out was also one of the very first big events before they had a cable production.
Yeah, but I was going to say, before the AEW was AEW, All In was kind of started with the idea of Cody, the Bucks, getting together and proving people wrong that they could draw 10,000 people in Chicago and put on a wrestling show that wasn't WWE. To now, 6 years later, they're going to be the largest all-out gate, potentially largest attendance in Toronto, which is why we called this The Road So Far, because we're both big Supernatural fans. We like plays on words. We like the alliteration. And Supernatural was filmed in Toronto. So I figured it'd be a cool little nod to the nod, because we kind of like those meta references here. But I also want to say real quick before we get started with AEW, huge shout out AJ Lee returning to the ring. We can't not talk about that for a minute, because AJ Lee and Paige were literally what shaped your identity in wrestling. So I want to kind of get your thoughts on AJ Lee. Like, excited to see her lace up the Converse again.
Vans.
I know. I don't understand why they're Vans this time.
Only thing I don't like about this at the moment, where are your Chuck Taylors? Knee-high Chuck Taylors. The reason many wrestling fans bought them, including myself. AJ Lee was a huge inspiration to why I enjoy wrestling. Same as Paige. Looking back in 2014, the main contenders for the women's division were Paige and AJ. They were always in matches. They were always interfering with people. Every little thing, like backstage, they were always there. And I think that it's really awesome. 10 years later, she's back. And
for the fans.
Now, apparently, it's a multi-year contract. Mm-hmm. So it's not just a one-off match. And I think that's more exciting, because if anyone knows wrestling lineage and history, you know that AJ's the promo queen. She wrote some of the best men's promos and pipe bombs. And if you didn't know that, now you do. You should have known that. Shame on you. AJ Lee is huge as far as promos go, and this is going to be fantastic for every situation backstage.
I still love when she roasted Jerry Lawler when they're on commentary, and she was something like, "I'm sorry, I know I'm too old for you, Jerry," and I was just like, "Oh my god!" Like, that's when I knew for me that AJ just didn't fuck around with her promo. So, no, I wanted you to touch upon that because, we may not watch WWE live all the time, but we try to keep up with the pay-per-views when we can, and we try to keep up because we support wrestlers. We love our wrestlers, and you can't not talk about one of your all-time favorites coming back. That's why I at least wanted to touch on it, because, again, I liked AJ Lee. I didn't have the same fandom. Yeah, it's not anything. I didn't see what you saw, but then seeing how much you liked it, I became more of a fan with her, and then reading her book after you read it.
Yes.
If it's crazy is my superpower, go check it out.
They even talked about it on commentary. My heart was so happy. And also, with her coming back, you can see the people that looked up to her and getting to wrestle her. Roxanne Perez, like, that's their love child. Like, that is something that's going to be so pure and happy. And I almost wish that they didn't have Lyra and Becky feud, because this pairing would have been amazing. The four of them in the ring together would have been just such a light in the wrestling world.
No, and I think what's great is you hit on a great point. We're now at that impasse. 10 years doesn't seem like a long time for us, but 10 years can mean the difference of the 8-year-old little girl, seeing her wrestle and seeing her being vicious and on the microphone tearing people apart, to now training to be a wrestler or working on the indies.
It's like when you see the people in NXT coming up and getting to work with someone like AJ Styles. These are people that they watched like growing up, and that's the reason that they got into professional wrestling. It is the same as seeing someone
like, look at Jada Stone and Bayley. Look at look at all these wrestlers. Look at Toni Storm, who she's talked about, growing up, seeing how Mercedes was an influence on people, and it's great because, 10 years ago they really started this, and the reason why I brought all this up too is 'cause 10 years ago they really started that Divas Revolution. They really started that Women's Wrestling Matters movement. 10 years later, we're already talking about 2 fantastic women's matches on this card at All Out. We're talking about Mercedes winning 9 belts around the world, changing wrestling for the better for herself. We're talking about AJ Lee coming back, making a positive impact. We're talking about Saraya coming back when no one thought she could. We are talking about all this inequality to men's wrestling, and it's making a big deal. AJ Lee's return has amazing social numbers over across so many platforms. People are happy to see it. So when a return that maybe 5-6 years ago people would have said, oh, okay, cool, is now a big deal, it means women's wrestling finally has the respect it deserves. And I'm glad as a fan to see that evolution, no pun intended. I'm glad to see that we can talk about Toni Storm tonight. We can talk about Jamie Hayter. We can talk about these different women wrestlers, and people aren't like, oh, it's a bathroom break match. So they actually take it seriously, and I love it because we're going to talk about our blood and guts theories and predictions, especially with Sky Blue going against Toni Storm in a Philly street fight this Wednesday. So I think that's the perfect segue to talk into. We're now at a point where in the ECW arena we have, and I want to get your thoughts on this, Toni Storm taking on Sky Blue in a street fight. Both women already proven they can do it.
I think this is going to be great. We haven't seen Toni break this kind of a persona out since her match with Mariah May, and that was a banger. I think Sky Blue is always on point in the ring, and to bring her outside of the ring into another street fight, she's proven time and time again that she can handle these and she can go. I love this, and I love that it's just a street fight. Not a women's street fight. It's not a women's 4-way match.
Philly street fight, yeah.
These are it's a street fight. There is no reason to identify it. They're going to go and they're going to crush it. And I think this is important and this is exciting.
It's your favorite thing.
Yeah.
You love blood and guts, and you love the potential for the women getting the blood and guts. I mean, we have all the bloody Brit figures. We have the bloody Thunder Rosa. We have, hopefully eventually we get the bunny, bloody bunny, or we get the Sky Blue from her last time, or Willow and Statlander. The amount of women who've stepped up and said, anything you can do, I can do better.
Ruby Soho.
Hearing
Go
her
back,
talk about
listen to her on Talk is Jericho. Go back for it. Phenomenal. Britt Baker revolutionized, I think, the color face. Like, that is just...
That shirt.
I had to have it. I actually got 2 by accident. And one of them is like triple printed. I wear that one as much as I can. It is bright. It is wonderful.
And I just think of, again, the visuals, because, again, it's paying homage to ECW, where you had someone like Francine taking a pile driver. You had someone like Missy Hyatt taking moves. You have women. You had Jazz tearing it up in ECW, beating the crap out of the men, rightfully so. So you have this revolution, and I'm glad that someone like Tony Khan recognizes that it's not about if it's a man or a woman wrestling. It's about the entertainer. It's about will the crowd get behind this? It's about the entertainment. And a lot of people don't want to touch on the subject of blood and guts or blood, gigging, whatever you want to call it in women's wrestling. But if they're okay with it, if something they want to work to tell their story, I heard a great quote and I wanted to use it tonight. The reason why they call it a canvas in a wrestling ring is because that's how they tell their art. If they want to tell their art that way, why are we to stop them? If they're trained, they know how to do it safely. Maybe it's not for you. Maybe turn off. But I am glad to see that it's taken it seriously. I can't wait to see Sky Blue. We put out on Twitter earlier today that Sky Blue, Toni Storm in the 2300 arena. Both women have been in some crazy street fights, hardcore matches before. This is going to be beautifully violent, and I can't wait for it. And again, Sky Blue has really kind of turned up a lot.
Do we see a high heel?
We might see 2 high heels. I think because you have the Triangle of Madness. You have them working. You have Julia and Tekla, who just everyone's out to get her. I mean, she's got Hayter going after her. She's got Queen going after her. At one point, I think Willow went after her.
We're not calling it beef. What are we calling this? Beast? I don't know what to call it. We need to figure out a name because I am not chanting beef when they're all in the ring.
Arachnophobia.
But it's all the tall, very muscular women, and I love that. I think it's so fun to be able to see such a diverse division still have different elements to it where you do have enough people. In the new girl that just debuted,
styles.
Stormy?
Oh yeah, she's a former volleyball player from Ohio. She's
6 foot something.
6'3", 6'4". Taking over.
That's
Ring
a whole
of
foot
Honor.
taller than me.
It is. And
on a good day.
You have people like we talk about all the time, Bozilla. You have all these women that, again, just like the men, there's heavyweights, super heavyweights, light heavyweights, technical submissions. I love it, and that's why, just kind of segue. That's why I'm excited for the Fatal 4-Way match. And I don't want to give all of our predictions because we have our prediction show that we're going to do, but I at least want to ask you, do you think, now that we have Tony versus Jamie Hayter versus Statlander versus Tekla for the women's title, do you think, you don't have to say who, do we get a new champ at All Out? Do you think this is where Tony drops it? Because if not now, when?
We don't need it, but I don't want to see, spoiler alert, I don't want to see anybody holding 2 belts anymore. I think that it's overrated. I don't think it's necessary. I want to see multiple people carrying the titles. If it's different promotions, that's totally fine. Mercedes, please keep collecting. Stay away from the women's title while you have the TBS. I think that it's
don't stack.
It's not showcasing your talent enough. There's a reason you have 30 people on a roster. We're talking like 130, but there's a reason that you have so many people, and it's to showcase them.
So don't be like me on Fight Forever where I come out with every single title.
But I just, personally, it's a personal opinion. I know I can get hate for it. You can hate me. Yes, it shows you're big and bad. But again, there's more people on the roster that can shine, and you don't need 2.
No, and I think...
From the same company.
Speaking of shining, you got, Statlander's kind of in 2 stories right now. She's being recruited by the Death Riders. You have Yuta, who she just used Yuta's famous backpack pin. Could that be the advice that she's given? Because, Statlander's got back on her winning ways with whose advice? Well, she's also teaming up with Harley, and Harley wants to challenge Bro Dito, and Chris is like, no, we're not challenging Bro Dito.
They could take him.
So you almost have this, she's being pulled, come to the dark side. No, stay with me, feel the wrath. And then you have Willow. So you have, 3 storylines going right now. So I guess for the crowd who says he doesn't tell stories, find a new narrative. Because she's actively trying to figure out, so is she going to go back to Willow and save her? Is she going to join the Death Riders? Are Harley going to go for the first women's tag team titles? I just think what they're doing right now is fantastic. We talked about this again, cheap plug, check out our episode that we just did, Next Wave, now streaming. This is what we're talking about when we see Statlander stepping up. This is what we're talking about when we see these women compete. You now have stories, and you now have all these different directions. So I know I said, I think it's going to be a champion. I think Statlander could take it. I could see Hayter taking it. I could even see Tekla taking it. I see Tony losing it. Each one of them is a plausibility. So you don't have to stay tuned predictions because I'm not see how these weeks kind of play out, but they're all in storylines where they can have a title. And I think that's what's brilliant about how they've kind of been, no pun intended, spider woven together. That if one of them has a title, it still means something, especially if one of the heels gets the title. Imagine she joins the Death Riders and Statlander is the champion. Then there's another title. I'm not saying they're going to put it in a briefcase again, but then there's another title that the Death Riders can make an example of. We already had to fix the men's division. Now we have to work on the women's division. There's ways they can do this. So that's just kind of my thoughts on it.
I mean, I guess from here we have to go talk about the Death Riders because I can't say what I want to say without talking about them.
So let's go for it. Let's go with the other person being heavily recruited now. Will we see Daniel Garcia become trademark pending here, the Red Death Rider?
Well, not even that far. I want to rewind a little bit to Wheeler Yuta. So Wheeler Yuta has been very much the sacrificial lamb.
Tinfoil's over there, by the way. Just kidding.
So, the sacrificial lamb is Wheeler Yuta, and I wonder how much longer he can take this, because he's bound to break. This isn't something that's coming easily for him. You can tell that he's worked really hard to get into this position, and he's not getting respected. He's never been respected. He's always been the outcast in this group, and he's trying to get Chris Statlander to work with him, and you've got Jon Moxley whispering in Daniel Garcia's ear, but you've got Wheeler Yuta whispering to Chris. And what if they're building a whole separate faction to go up against the Death Riders? What if it's this whole big twist. Like, there's so much that could happen here. I don't want to see
So,
her
like, a
join the
civil
Death
war?
Riders. But yeah, like, what if it's like Wheeler Yuta branches off, creates something bigger and better, and we see a little bit of the Best Friends meets Willow, and
Okay.
we just never know what could happen. But if Orange Cassidy can come back, that's four people right there.
So I'm going to take what you said and I'm going to spin it a little bit because I think a big, big news item happened this week that not enough people really put together. I tried to on our page. Bryan Danielson is now in commentary every Wednesday going forward. What this means, probably Tony Schiavone is probably moving to Saturday, so it'll probably be a Taz, Excalibur, Bryan Danielson booth, and a Tony, Nigel, and maybe Ian booth on Saturdays. But the big crux of that is the last time Bryan was on commentary at Forbidden Door, Moxley walked right by him and he didn't want to make any eye contact with Mox. He didn't make any eye contact, but he kept his eye on Yuta. Yuta's been growing his hair out. We've said this forever. He's doing...
He looks better, guys.
Psycho knees. He's got his beard. He's still kind of embracing the American Dragon, like the mannerisms, the way he wrestles, kind of the way he carries himself. Bryan was not like... It's not like he was this, hi, golly gee, guys. He was a vicious, I'm going to kick your fucking head in guy. But he was the, I have a moral compass guy. I think you hit the nail on that. I think he still has that moral compass, but... I think we're getting like a double turn. I could see something in the future of Yuta teaming with Bryan Danielson to take on Moxley and Garcia down the road. I could see that being the story because earlier in the year we had Moxley talking about Garcia, how Bryan failed him and couldn't be the right mentor. And what did Bryan always want to do? Just like I said in the last episode, Bryan wants to recruit Garcia. It failed. Moxley's trying. Garcia's starting to break. You saw Marino wearing the red, kind of helping him up. He didn't win, but they looked like he passed the test. He looked like he showed he had the heart. So I think that could be like leading to your best friends, because maybe it leads to that and does lead him to get the best friends back on track, because he realized, listen, I want to win. I wanted titles too, but I didn't want to do it that way. And that's what Moxley's whole promo was. Like, you were really impressed with how he was talking about the outcasts. He was talking about them being... You didn't want us to be
They weren't
here.
the best. They weren't booked to be the one to be the biggest in any of their factions leading forward. Do we think they're trying to talk about WWE? No. But could you take it that way? Yeah, you could.
No, and I think, again, it's a lot to be seen. I'm excited because, again, we got about 2 weeks-ish to All Out. We have the last week in Philly this week with Dynamite and Collision. Next week, we have a 4-hour special, September to Remember. So it's Collision and Dynamite on a Wednesday. So we're going to go too long without some AEW.
Yes. But I want to point out, I have not cared about the Death Rider storyline for quite some time. And now I'm back and I'm invested because they're teasing so many new key components to this. And that's how you continue a story. You don't keep mixing in the same people. You got to freshen it up. And I'm going to die on the hill that I want Marina Shafir to get someone else with her. No. Did I say her name right for the first time?
You did.
I'm so proud of myself, guys. That took a long time.
She's married to the Messiah of the Backbreaker.
So Marina Shafir is known to be a pro MMA fighter as well. And she really kicked ass. And... No, you know me? You know I am not a fan of Ronda Rousey. She can go places. I think that you have someone like Shayna Baszler who could come in and be a very good asset to Marina. And I know for a pre-interview that was done with Shayna, she's really enjoyed seeing Marina's growth working with Moxley. And I think that speaks volumes in itself, is to see where someone is that you're relating to and you have similar values with, being able to rise up and still use the MMA style with your wrestling. Because at the end of the day, that's what AEW is. You take your wrestling style. You're not doing the same 5 moves. You're not trying to culminate into their style. It's you. That's why they wanted you in that company, is for what you can bring and what you do.
But and also to kind of play devil's advocate, she's older, she's been working as an NXT producer, or she did, so maybe she wants to kind of step back that way. So maybe she could be an agent for them. Maybe if she doesn't want to do on screen.
I just could see, like I said, like Willow and Chris versus Marina and Shayna would eat. I would eat that all day. And I'm not a technical person. I'm not an MMA person. Feed me.
I don't know how long she has left in her contract, but I rather counter. How about Masha Slamovich eventually comes over? We got Masha.
I would love that as well.
Because I think that would fit that kind of what you're looking
Jody
for.
Threat. There's so many elements that, again, it doesn't need to be Shayna Baszler.
Remember when the internet melted down because Jody Threat and Athena had a snug match and everyone was...
Loved it. That is what Jody does best, and that's what Athena does best.
No, I agree, and I'm a little shocked that we're not seeing any involvement with Athena yet, but I still feel like there's something to come. There's something in the pipeline because Athena just celebrated over 1,000 days as forever ROH Women's Champion. You know, I still think my prediction holds true. I think she drops it to Billy because I think...
Time's ticking, Athena.
I think it's got to be Billy at this point. I think Billy's tried so many times that this will finally be that time. It'll be that big moment for her. So I'm curious where she's going to go. But also, to kind of keep this going to see where I'm curious where they're going to go, is she going to be the one that kind of interferes with Mercedes? Yeah, she seemed a little bit of a collaboration with Mercedes. Could that be a trick to get her back? Because Athena's still not over her loss in Boston back in April.
No, Athena does not handle losses well. We know that. That's why she's 1,000 days.
And Athena's very smart. The enemy of my enemy is also my friend. So if you play nice with her, maybe you get her on your side. I know you don't want to see double champs, but maybe it's one of those things where even if she drops the ROH title to Bill, maybe she's the one to throw Mercedes as like, maybe. See, I'm still a forever champion. I may have lost my ROH, but I upgraded, baby. Like I can see, like not saying upgraded, like to say it's not on the same level, but like
she has brought that Ring of Honor title to its worthiness. Like notoriety for sure. I think that's something exciting. Athena doesn't get brought up enough.
And I want to point out real quick before we get off Ring of Honor, Bandito's done the same for the men's title right now too. So you have Athena and Bandito, probably your two best Ring of Honor champions you've had in a long time. Not that Athena wasn't carrying the workhorse before, but now you finally have that. I mean, people were tuning into that YouTube special to see the Bandito match against Heshiero. That was fire. And then versus Takeshita in July. You're going to put him up there, rest of the year candidate for a reason. And then I think this is a test run. I don't know. Obviously, we don't have sources. We don't know anything other than what you guys know, too. This could be a test run for your order. Like, maybe they're going to go on YouTube. They haven't put a lot of matches on there. They just put their whole pay-per-view on there because of the issues. Maybe they go on YouTube because what better way to get more eyes? And I miss AEW Dark, and I miss Elevation. I remember I used to get so sick of it because you'd watch it over and over during the pandemic, especially when we didn't have anything else to watch. So maybe I got too much of it at once, but not having Rampage, not having Dark, not having Elevation, having Ring of Honor on that YouTube, being that Thursday night show or Friday night show, it could help. It really could help.
I think that the more eyes you can get on a product, the better it's going to be. And one of my favorites has been on Ring of Honor a lot lately. She was very prominent on Dark and Elevation. And I'm really happy for Ashley Vox to be getting seen again on television. She was out with an injury most of, I believe, 2023, 2024. She was out with an injury.
I miss the Sea Stars.
Yes, Delmy just got married.
Congratulations, Delmy and Rip Bison. That was incredible.
The two of them, were very key components to Limitless when we were going. All three of them, including Rip, they were there almost every show. And it's just nice to see the people that you've watched, when our friends go to NWA and then you get to see them on, live television. I don't know, endearing.
You root for the good people. You root for the ones that you've seen how they interact in and out of the ring. You see them, how they interact with fans, and it's awesome, and I agree. Seeing Ashley Vox being on Ring of Honor is never not going to be incredible. It's never not going to be, oh my God, I think I pop every time, hey, look who it is. Or
the first match we saw her in, she versed Daniel Garcia for the Limitless Championship. That was 2019. 2020. That wasn't that long ago, actually, when you think about things.
And Emily, anything to do like that, she's all over it. So I think it's incredible. I think they've done a great job of kind of transitioning and getting Ring of Honor kind of back up to where it should be. Speaking of that real quick, the last thing I kind of want to touch on Ring of Honor, Outrunners are back with Dalton Castle. Like,
in an epic,
that was
epic
the
video.
funniest. They're like in the jungle or something, and they see the boys. And like, what are those? And what are these? And the Dalton, you son of a bitch! And I mean, remember we went to that collision where the Outrunners came out as the boys, and y'all, when I tell you, I thought Emily was gonna like pass over laughing. So she's like, "Wow, one of the boys is kind of jacked," and I was like, "Oh, what do you mean? Oh my god!" And I start laughing because you just see Truth Magnum flexing. He's wearing the little feather mask, and once it clicked, I saw Emily click. She goes, "Oh my god!" We both realized at the same time they were the Outrunners. We both pissed
I
our
was
pants
dead.
and now they're running it back. So
I died dead.
again, adding some more star power to Ring of Honor kind of puts that whole YouTube, but again, kind of help keeping the Outrunners fresh in the ring. So when they come back and maybe face Brodito, maybe face a Jet Speed again, to kind of, I'm excited. I don't think it's a problem going between both shows. I know some people think it's a demotion. I mean, Athena's working both shows. Billy works both shows. I think the more
Bandito's working both.
The more TV time you can get, the better. And I know one's behind a paywall, but everything's behind a paywall if you break it down. So,
yeah.
I'm excited, but probably not as excited as you are for this next one because I did way too much of a deep dive on this to make a video. I did way too much research. I'm patting myself in the back. We were probably one of the first pages to post about this, who this person was. But Hologram has been seeing some glitches and seeing some issues, and then we see teasers past 2 weeks of the clone has arrived, systems granted, and there's a clone hologram, an evil hologram who turned out to be Arez, who is King Strange himself, one of the craziest independent workers, has great chemistry with Hologram. They go back to GCW, they go back to MLW, they've wrestled in AAA, they've wrestled around the world, around the country. I'm excited because you're going to see a guy who is kind of like, the best way to describe it, like a Zack Sabre Jr. If Zack Sabre Jr. and Rey Mysterio made a wrestler, this is kind of what it would be. You have the crazy high-flying luchador, but the twistiness and the technicalness.
This would be my create a wrestler.
100% would be your create a wrestler.
This is entirely what I would do. The face paint, the masks, the gear, every little thing about this. Arez?
Well, yeah, El Clone now. Or
El Clone. I'm ecstatic. I cannot get enough. And if you haven't checked out the video that Mongo put together, I'm not just hooting like his horn. I think that this video is so awesome. I've watched it way too many times. I like every time somebody comments on it, it sends us to the video and I just have to watch it all over again because I'm so excited to see this style of wrestling in AEW. I think Hologram was very early on one of my absolute favorites for everything he does. I think that this is going to be fantastic. And there's just endless. I could go on. Like, I'm so excited. There's this one move he does where he like kips up into the move. That core strength is insane. Like, how is that even possible? And then you're twisting someone into the ropes. Go watch the video because like I can't do justice what this man can do, and it's gonna be great. I can't wait to see him mix it up with the whole roster.
And after you subscribe, and make sure you like, subscribe, leave us a 5-star Frog Splash review. And on our YouTube page of Cruising with Kayfabe, check out, search for Arez videos. Type in Arez verse and just watch. He's wrestled with Takeshita. He's wrestled with everyone you know. And
Beast, Vikingo.
It's amazing chemistry, and he's someone that is going to pull off the storyline because for those who really aren't aware in the Lucha tradition, they always kind of have the evil and the dark character, the yin and the yang, and that's what this is. This is the polar opposite. It is a soap opera trope, how, oh my god, he had an evil twin the whole time, and he's the one that stole the check. Next week on General Hospital. It's that same kind of concept in a wrestling form, and it's great because they don't always mirror each other's moves. They might pull off a little bit more vicious style of the move. You know, they tried it with Mystico when he went to WWE. They tried to do the Sin Cara and the Sin Cara Negro, but that doesn't really work. So you had the Mystico 2. You had all the different variations of it. All of which is, check out some of the best ones. I think this is going to be fantastic. Hologram finally kind of gets a story after, kind of earning it being a good worker. So I'm excited to see where they bring the story. And one of their most well-known matches, MLW, was at the 2300 Arena. This is the last collision at the 2300 Arena. Bold prediction, he arrives this week. Because what better way to make his debut than the arena he first fought Hologram?
I like it.
So I'm excited about that. There's so much. And That's why we want to do this episode. There's so much
And
to talk about
honestly,
this week.
like, something that would be so fun to me is to see him in the crowd in a hologram mask and then have him come over the barricade and remove the hologram mask and it's his own rendition. Because we know that he's probably going to be, like, not repackaged, but repackaged.
Repackaged is the right term, because I'm sure he's going to have to change, like, just like with the hologram when he kind of changed from
Artemis?
It's Ariamis. I can never say it right. It's so hard to say for me because it's not something I said out loud. But he changed the look of his mask. He changed his gear slightly, his color scheme to the blue and the neon Seahawks colors. If you kind of want a visual in your head. With El Clone, it looks like we're getting the dark red and black. So we're gonna get like that red and that black, maybe like a red and black version of the Hulk. Because I mean, let me tell you, you sell those masks. Let's go. Lots of opportunity. I can't wait. I'm excited again, like you said, all the different stuff, this kind of storyline. Again, people, all these, AEW tell stories, they're coming. You just don't want to pay attention to them because they didn't give you 5 recaps, I guess. But I'm really looking forward to, there's so much more to talk about. Another one I really have to talk about, we mentioned him again, Ace Austin, how he's ready for the next big thing. Great vignette played on Collision where he talked about he's here to make a name for himself. He's here to win championships. He's here to show the world who Ace Austin is.
Chris Bay reposted it. My heart.
And he talked about he has an ace up his sleeve always. And then it transitions into the Bang Bang Gang, who threw away Card Blade and Card Gun and said, it looks like they're taking a serious move. They're trying to get rid of the jokes. And they said, you got to play the hand that's been dealt. So 2 card references and their promo played right before. So what are we thinking? Are we thinking Ace Austin's joining the Bang Bang Gang? Or getting more of a serious, like, Bullet Club? Is Bullet Club Gold going to come back? Can I get that seriousness back?
I want to see it. I'm ready. I think that a trio of them could definitely take on the Ops. I think that that's a beef match. Like, that match, it would be fantastic. I think that there's so much that goes into Ace Austin being a part of AEW. And again, knowing the locker room, knowing the vision of everything, it makes a huge difference when you bring someone in that already has chemistry like we just talked about. They've wrestled the majority of the roster. I want to see Ace Austin versus Speedball. I want to see all these different avenues being taken back again. Like, run it back for me, because I don't know what it is about the AEW magic, but there's magic in that ring. I promise you, like, something about it just overtakes you. When they're in that ring, it's just different.
I think you get the Bullet Club Gold because you have someone like Juice who can work with everyone, but then you have Ace Austin who can kind of add that different element, and they can be that trio until Jay comes back. And then you think about it, you have Juice, Ace, Switchblade, and the Guns. That's a pretty solid faction to go up against. The Don Callis family, to go against
the Elite,
the new version of the Elite, to go against the Best Friends, to go against whoever's out there. And I think that's something that is interesting to see. I'm excited to see where that goes. But speaking of the Ops, it's a great segue to the next one, because someone that's not happy with the current version of the Ops is Hook. We saw Hook's return to the 2300 Arena, to return to AEW to honor his dad. His dad, Taz, getting his name well deserved in the rafters. But you have Hook coming back, a little pissed off. Since Double or Nothing.
You've been saying this for quite a while, that he was going to come back like this. You've definitely, like, hit the nail on the head with how he's reacting.
Probably because that's how I felt sometimes. Like, I feel like it's relatable. Like, you're in a friend group and, you can't do something and they come back and go, you guys went on the boys trip without me? Or, you guys went to the store without me and all got, like, Whoppers? Like, okay. No, they won a title without him. And then Joe says, but you weren't ready. Yeah, because he was injured. So you can see Hook's bitterness. Another one that seems to be swayed to the dark side. Maybe that faction you're talking about with Yuta. I mean, he kind of was part of the Best Friends with Danhausen. So that could be that seriousness. And I just want to point out, my favorite thing since Hook's return is his new music. That just plays while he's beating everyone down. It doesn't stop playing, kind of like Anarchy.
It's so classical.
It's like old school New York. Well, I think
I get it. It makes sense for Hook. I just don't.
Well, truth of it is because his original song, they didn't renew the license in January, so they aren't using Action Bronson's song anymore. So I think they were just trying to find a new version. So I don't know. Again, I hadn't heard the song before, but I think it fits that whole New York, like Frank Sinatra, like vibe, probably without having to pay the royalties to Frank Sinatra's estate. So, no, I just like that it plays kind of Anarchy in the Arena style. That's why like it kind of pops me a little bit. I'm excited to see him versus Samoa Joe. You knew it was coming. You knew when he joined the Ops, that was the ultimate end game. Is you always kind of put someone in a faction that you want them to kind of turn on you, so you can. That's how you elevate them. You had the veteran and the new person in the faction kind of go together. It's Wrestling 101. So
they already teased something as well.
They have. And
you saw backstage. He was joking. Hook was joking around and started like choking somebody out, and he's like, "Just try it." And then Joe tried it, and he liked it. Yeah. So it's like, I don't know. They had such great chemistry. I kind of just didn't want this, but I get it.
Imagine their heel. Like imagine Joe as a heel or him as a heel towards Joe. I think they can use that same chemistry. Put him into something like a street fight to give Hook an advantage.
Yeah.
Where, and again, he could be the reason they lose the trios titles. You weren't good enough for the titles either. You know Joe wants to work with Hook. You know Shibata probably wants to have a one-on-one with Hook. Hobbs and Hook. Hobbs doesn't, and that's the thing. Hobbs said, "I wasn't replacing you." He's had his back since Team Taz. Hook and Hobbs have never had beef. I don't think Hook wants that smoke. That's probably why. Let's be realistic.
I wouldn't.
But I think that could be a wrinkle in the L too. What if he goes through the entire Ops by himself? Make him what way to kind of push him up to the top. So there's a lot they could do with that. Again, I'm excited about that too. So much going on. I guess with factions, we got to go to the next one. Don Callis Family.
Oh, that's a big one.
Well, yeah. I feel like I kind of encompassed a lot of our notes here.
Yeah, this is gonna be a lot. Buckle up. We're about to talk a lot about Don Callis. Ugh, my favorite topic.
Hot dog himself. But I mean, first we got to talk about Wednesday. Is Kenny taking out by Kyle, like him being stretched off, and Kyle proclaiming that AEW is all his now, and then you have Josh Alexander claiming that he's going after to finish what he started with Hangman. Hangman was beaten down. He was left despondent. AEW Dynamite ended on a sour note. All the baby faces, all the top guys were beaten down by the Don Callis family, and then Kyle comes out on Collision and calls out Hangman because he wants to be a double champion. I know you talk about how much you hate it, but he wants Hangman. He wants that title. Don Callis has promised gold to his family. I think we got a lot with Kyle Fletcher right now. There's a lot of tensions in the Don Callis family, but Kyle's definitely on a mission. He wants Hangman. He wants that gold.
Don has plenty of people up his sleeve. Again, we don't need a double champion when we have that many people. You could give it to anybody else in the Don Callis family. That's not already a champion. I know it's getting slim, but there's plenty of other people to pass the torch to.
Don Callis has got like 700 members, so I feel like there's someone in his faction.
It grows every week. Who's next?
I mean, honestly, I don't know at this point, because I feel like just when you think no one else is going to join, someone else joins. And
well, I guess that leads us over to who could potentially be leaving the Don Callis family.
I think Rocky and Trent are eventually going to get out too, but that's not who you're mentioning.
No.
You're mentioning the Alpha, Takeshita. And I've been kind of saying this like you have too, since he won the G1 and he stared down Okada at Forbidden Door. I said, there's tension there. He's already showing it. Then this past week on Collision, he sent Josh Alexander to the back. He said, see you later, bye. He didn't want him there. He wanted to win the match against Briscoe on his own. He didn't want to cheat to win. Remind you of Ospreay, just like I made that prediction about how Don Callis' downfall is he will never stop chasing Omega, the ghost of Omega. In the same way that Ospreay got sick of Don Callis' shit with the screwdriver and the schmoz finishes, Takeshita's getting sick of that shit. But Okada, he said he's the top dog. The Rainmaker is the top dog. And that the Alpha's just a little bitch. So you know they're going to come to blows. You know it's going to happen. There's your new title. There's your title to get off someone, is to get that Continental title off Okada. And you have now Takeshita winning the G1 and then potentially dethroning Okada right to the top.
You are not wrong.
So I'm going to ask you, what do you think with the Takeshita face turn? I mean, I know you like Takeshita, but I know you like him more as a face.
I do. Anything away from Don Callis is fantastic, actually. Yeah, Takeshita is definitely worthy of getting a title. I would like to see him as world champion.
He'd be a great world champion.
He really would. He just killed it in the G1 like you were talking about. I think that he's ready.
And he hasn't really had a bad match since he's been with AEW pretty much full time.
Even before he was full time.
I don't see a lot of bad. I mean, I remember when he first kind of came in and the Elite were highly talking him in, recruiting him in, and the whole Cinnabon joke. Get that man a Cinnabon, he's going to turn face. I think him and Okada, people can say what they want about Okada, but I think it's a feud that needs to happen, and it'll be a passing of the torch kind of thing. I think that's what Okada's kind of there for, to build himself up as this big star and help bring guys like Takeshita up. Because Takeshita just turned 30. He's got the whole world ahead of him. Another one that we're very high, and I think he's ready to get that next level, and I think him and Okada, it's going to be a great feud, and I'm excited for it.
Yeah.
Well, next I want to talk about something that the man skipped his fucking honeymoon to screw over Mark Briscoe.
That's a wrong screw job to do on the honeymoon.
You know, I know some states, don't they have laws about consummating the marriage, so I don't know if MJF is he legally married now, or how does that work out? Is that still an old-fashioned... But anyhow, Alicia apparently said, whatever, this man skipped his honeymoon for this, but he does not want Briscoe to leave Toronto. He said, I'll give you whatever stipulation, you name it, I just want to eat the match. And now Briscoe's got time to think, and this week I think we're going to find out what his stipulation is. He put up a poll that we have a dog collar match, that we have basically a street fight. What other stipulations did we put up there?
Ladder match,
maybe putting the contract on the line.
And a strap match.
Which, again, keep MJF contained so he can't run around. It could be another, brawl at the barn, basically, at his farm.
That's what I want to see. I want to see something crazy out of Delaware.
And
that chicken farm, chicken kung fu, give me Mark Briscoe.
Briscoe hitting MJF with something would be... And again, maybe that's why he's kind of invoked his brother's name. Maybe so the family gets involved. Imagine all of Mark's 8 of his kids.
I was just going to say, it'll be like...
because one's me, but all 8 kids start kicking him.
For real, though, there's so many, and it would be so funny to see each of them, I don't know, each one gets a cookie sheet, something funny.
Just all beating the crap out of MJF. That'd be fantastic.
They'd get a minibus and they all pile out of it.
That would be hilarious.
There's hilarious. So much that goes into this. And then they could hit him with the bus. They could borrow Jack Barry's.
Right.
They could just take it. They're
it's probably on the side of the road somewhere.
Hooligan children. Just take it.
Yeah, I'm excited for that. Curious to see how it goes at All Out. But the match is official, but we're just waiting for the stipulation. And it's going to be fun. MJF involved with it. Briscoe, it's going to be entertainment. It's going to be cheesy, stupid, entertaining, fun, make you cringe, but I'm here for it.
Speaking of cheesy, stupid, but we're here for it. Big Bill called out Eddie Kingston. You crazy?
And of all people to call
the Mad Man?
You call out the Mad King. You call out the guy who didn't even care to respond to you. He was watching South Park when he responded to your tweet. Well, respond to you in a tweet. Wow. And I guess I'm here for, but what's the end game here, Big Bill? What are we trying to do?
Wreck some faces, I guess. I don't understand it either, but Big Bill's 7'10", and then you've got I'm exaggerating, I know people. And then you've got Eddie Kingston coming back, and he's getting into some of the best shape of his life.
And I think it's just going to be a fight. I think he's just...
Does he come back with the beard?
I don't know. I think he comes back clean shaven. I think the beard's just this grumpy old man Wolverine, old man Logan look right now.
I think he could confront him with the beard, but shave it off for the match. Yeah, that'll be when Eddie's ready.
I'm excited to see Eddie back. I'm excited to see him come back.
You know who's going to be there?
Who?
Ishii.
He's everywhere. Ishii is
everywhere. And I just know that would pop Mongo to be oh my God, he's here too.
I swear. They need to start having him just walk through backstage segments whenever people are just have him walk through have him go to his car and get in his car. Have him show up. Have him show up with DoorDash or someone.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Everywhere. I'm not saying make him a comedy gig, but he's every event. I literally saw this random...
Just have him walking in the halls.
I saw this random indie event, and it was featuring Ishii because he's in the U.S. for the summer. I'm he really is everywhere.
Everywhere.
It's fantastic. But I'm excited to see Eddie come back. I mean, Gabe Kidd's a little busy in Japan right now. He was taken away by Darby to kind of go back to Japan, left in the streets of Philly. You know he's going to want to score to settle with Gabe after putting him on the shelf for over a year. So he's just going to run through Big Bill. I'm kind of curious, where does this leave Eddie? I definitely think it leads to going to Japan and taking care of some business. So I'm excited to see him back. The Mad King's coming back. I'm here for it.
But if we're going to talk about Eddie, now we got to talk about Gabe Kidd.
Which, again, poor guy got thrown in a body bag and dragged through the streets of Philly and left, and now he's...
Poor guy. He attacked our guy.
I don't be dragged through the streets of Philly. You know how many potholes are in the streets of Philly?
Not enough.
Not enough. I swear to God, every time I've driven through Philly, I feel like I need a new axle. Every time I watch a show in Philly, I see cars just going, oof, oof. And I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend anyone in Philly. I know what it's like to be in the Northeast with snow. These towns don't fix our roads. That poor man's probably going through downtown just boom, 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 in that body bag, getting all banged up.
I like it.
I know. But you know what I'm also going to say that you're going to like is the Darby versus Mox coffin match that was made official for All Out. Now remember, Darby's 3-1 in coffin matches, only one loss to Jack Perry, but he's 0-3 to Mox. So
this is Darby's time. This is his thing. This has Darby winning written all over it. And what is Charles gonna concoct? Like, I'm so curious to know.
I like that you called Charlie Charles. That threw me off for a minute.
Yeah, what is Charles gonna concoct?
You went full on like Young Bucks EVP. I mean, what is Charles gonna concoct for us today in the caskets?
So we just know that Charlie has been on BTE. We've seen what he can do. We've seen what he can create. He's worked with Darby for quite a while. Pretty sure he's a lot of the thumbtacks.
There's been a lot of videos of Darby. I mean, do you remember when Moxley tried to run away? Darby fucking hit his limo with a car, or hit his SUV with a car, was bleeding. Then he climbed Mount Everest and came back and attacked. Darby's not going to stop. So I could see him coming to the arena with a fucking monster truck dragging the coffin.
Yeah, I'm excited for this on so many different levels. But again, like the madness behind it is what's really exciting. He went to the summit of Mount Everest, and that wasn't enough of a thrill. What?
Yeah, he cut a promo on Moxley and proposed to his girlfriend. So Moxley's consuming this much of this man's life that he's cutting a promo on him and proposing to his girlfriend. But his whole focus right now is taking down Moxley. He's going to, and it's going to be brutal. It's going to be violent. I agree. I mean, we'll see how it plays out the next couple weeks. I think right now my too early prediction is Darby kind of getting his ascension, but there's also a lot of shenanigans with the Death Riders, including the Red Death Rider himself. So there's a lot of twists and turns here, and I'm here for the story. I'm just here to see more Darby on my television because I didn't know what we were missing last year when he was gone. But Darby, please don't leave for a long period again because holy crap, it's like a whole different show with him on there. I'm not just saying his crazy stunts, but just his energy that he brings. Like, when he's in the ring and he's just throwing himself at people, like, him versus Claudio was fantastic because he's like that David Goliath wrestler. You know he's not going to beat him because he's going to be the best wrestler in the ring. He's going to beat him because that motherfucker is going to pinball himself off one corner of the ring to the other and try to take you with him.
No, like, Darby is relentless. Darby is, like, that word embodies him so much. Like, his picture's got to be there in the dictionary. Like, every little piece of Darby is invested in getting his payback, getting his pound of flesh.
And he's probably left many pounds of flesh in that ring.
Yeah, like, Darby's willing to do whatever it takes, however it has to be done. He is not going to stop. Therefore, putting the nail in the coffin would be the perfect way for Darby to end this. But does it just end? What would be next?
That's what I'm saying. I'm
there's
curious
so
much for the story, and it's again Jack Perry situation. Only person to beat Darby in a coffin match. Someone that Moxley said back in October. I like that Jack Perry kid. Again, you're talking about those new stables, talking about people getting replaced. There's so many twists and turns, and I'm here for it all because so far, knock on wood, this has been one of the best runs they've done with these stories and keeping them kind of connected through the year. So it's not just, oh, here's the story, it's over. Not that they did that before, but you know what I mean. Like, so I'm curious to see where it goes and kind of cap off. We have two more things to talk about for our last two stories. But the first one kind of goes back to MJF and his 500 stories. You have the Gates of Agony and Ricochet taking on the Hurt Syndicate. Now, this is set up because the Hurt Syndicate were crossed their titles when the Gates of Agony interfered. on Ricochet's orders because Ricochet didn't forget him getting embarrassed and bitched out by the Hurt Syndicate last December. But here's the thing. Who were they working with the night before Forbidden Door? They were working with MJF to kind of punish Briscoe to get Hangman to relent. So there's some story there. Did MJF kind of order it, plus give motivation because, hey, Ricochet, remember what he did to you? Do you want to go get some payback? There's still a lot of story with this. The Gates of Agony have been just proving how dominant they are, kind of helped reestablish that beast in the tag team. Kind of going against the Hurt Syndicate, who just had a good run with their tag titles, who now don't have the titles because of them, so it's a grudge match.
So is this going to be, I was just going to say, is it actually going to be MVP, or do we see someone else?
3-on-3, MVP and Bobby Lashley and Shelton going against Ricochet and the GOA. MVP confirmed he's going to lace up the boots for this match.
He doesn't do that often anymore, and this is a treat in itself to be able to see.
No, and I think we're going to see a lot of, because Gates of Agony match up very well to Lashley and Shelton. You know, we're going to see Shelton this week against Ricochet. We're going to see a little preview of it this week on Dynamite. All 6 of these men can wrestle. All 6 of them can tell a story. It's going to be interesting. I can't wait for it. I think Ricochet is just, he's on another level when it comes to his heel work. I think he's going to help bring the Gates of Agony boys up to kind of get them more relevant. He's kind of getting his own bodyguards, not to use it that way. But he's getting his own support because he's kind of seen it. I love, Danny Garcia has a quote that I absolutely love. AEW is Gotham. It's lawless.
It is.
And I think he sees that you kind of need to have people on the back to protect you. So he's got the Gates of Agony and the Hurt Syndicate again. I know Cedric signed, but there's still other people. Like, do they have a trick up their sleeve? Like, there's so much to these stories, and I'm excited to see them. And we're hoping that you are as well. You want to know? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure you like, give us a follow. Who do you think so far? And to end the night, we got to talk about, it's not the main event, but it's obviously it's on the poster. It's a big deal. Edge and Christian again, they're reunited. Cope and Cage versus FTR, grudge match. It's Toronto. Edge and Christian have never teamed in a match in Toronto before, so it's their first time as a tag team, which is fucking mind-blowing when you go back and look. You're like, that can't be right. But it's because they only had a small run in WWF as a team, so kind of timing didn't work. And then obviously with injuries and Christian going to TNA, it was timing. But yeah, they've never had a tag match in Toronto, which I thought was fucking wild.
It's not fair.
And I'm glad it's finally happening. And we have FTR, who's just been on the dickhead of dickhead runs, taking out Adam Priest and Tommy Billington and kind of just taking their aggression out of them because of everything Cope and Cage are doing to them. You know there's still some more heat and there's still some more punishment to be dished around, but I would ask you, so you saw Cope and Cage at Forbidden Door kind of get the rust off, kind of get their chemistry back. Are you excited for this match, or what's your thoughts on Cope and Cage versus FTR?
Curious to see how this is going to go if you're watching on YouTube.
You happen to wear an FTR shirt?
I am wearing my FTR shirt. I think that there's just so much that goes into this. I'm just, again, happy to see Cope and Christian in Toronto. I think that that is what should be going on. I'm a firm believer in putting people over in their hometown, if not close enough. Do we see Jericho come back at All Out?
I mean, yeah, we should touch on Chris Jericho because being in Canada, I mean, there's a lot of places he could probably insert himself on this card. The Big Bill match, the Edge and Cope and Cage match. He could make an appearance, but being in Canada, I would say if Jericho doesn't return here, does he come back to AEW at all? And I don't want to put out rumors based on what he said in the media or what he does or doesn't like on Instagram, because again, it's Jericho. He's gonna play whatever side you think.
He's a master of this. He has really truly reinvented himself so much. He plays along. He's told us previously on his podcast and in part, like, he will tell you to your face, if you're gonna be a dick, I'm gonna be a dick. If you think I'm a heel, I'm a heel. If you think I'm a face, I'm a face.
And I think he's never gonna burn bridges. He's not gonna say, no, I'm never going back to be.
Or no, I'm not with AEW. He wouldn't do either.
Recently was, I'm still with AEW for the long term, and if the right opportunity presents itself, I'd consider it. And I think you'd be stupid not to, as any athlete, to say, oh no, I'm not going to look at this job opportunity. Because regardless of personal feelings people have from one promotion to another, if a wrestler decides that they are a better fit going to a different promotion, or they feel like they've accomplished what their goals in one promotion, or they feel that maybe he wants to go for a retirement run. He wants to have one more Rumble appearance. He wants to have it's no one else is to judge but himself. And I personally think that if we don't see him in Canada, there's a good chance he's either probably on his way out or probably not coming back, because I think this is a good opportunity to bring him back. I'd like to bring him back as selfishly because I do like Jericho. I think what he's done for AEW, I think I'd like to see him end his career in AEW on a better note. Hope instead of just kind of disappearing. So even if he comes back and leaves, maybe he comes back and he has one more story and then he leaves and gets written off, like how Regal was written off, or something. Because I feel like Jericho's too much of a professional to not want to at least, hey, I want to do business in the way, or hey, I want to sign one more year. I want to retire like Sting did. Like, I just think there's too much goodwill towards Tony Khan. I don't know the relationship with Triple H. If you read the dirt sheets, if you read the rumors, supposedly he didn't like Triple H. But again, money talks, bullshit walks.
10-time champion, give him the Ring of Honor title back and have him really be the face for their television deal. There's endless possibilities with Chris Jericho, and
I think they tried the Ring of Honor deal, so I don't know if that would.
I don't know, like, where there's a spark, there's fire, and I think that there's so much more that he could do, but also there's a lot that goes into him in general, as far as Fozzy and his podcast and all these other things that he has avenues for. It's very hard to see anything but AEW. As a huge fan of his, I want him to have whatever he wants. I want him to have that great run if that's what he wants to do. Come back for one appearance, that's fantastic too. Whatever it is he feels necessary to do. I know he's squashed the beef with Triple H, supposedly. So there's a lot that goes into this, and I'm happy if he's happy.
Well, and that's the thing. No one will ever truly know how he feels about people in AEW or in AWB. And, you said he's squashing beef, but again,
we don't know.
We don't know. That could be, but also, he could be negotiating a contract with AEW. You're going to leak out that there's interest from WWE. I feel like that's just contract negotiations 101. And people are going to overanalyze everything. It's just like the football season when a player unfollows their team on Instagram. It literally makes headlines. It's like, really? Or when Taylor Swift likes a certain person's profile picture, it makes headlines like, oh, I thought they were beefing.
It's an Easter egg.
Like, people will, because they're so starved for news when there's no answers, they latch on to everything. And Jericho hasn't really been public since he left AEW TV and the Fozzy divorce ended. So anytime he speaks, it's under a microscope. Either way, I'm a Jericho-holic. I've loved Chris Jericho since WCW. I loved him when he was on his whole shtick about the armbar to when he finally became Y2J and WWE, just all his runs and the champion. So whatever he does, I'm going to follow him and enjoy it because I'm a fan of Chris Jericho first and foremost. AEW is my preferred promotion. I watch WWE and support them, but I'm going to support my favorites wherever they are because that's what I watch wrestling for my favorite wrestlers. I don't watch because of the three letters that they're always on. Doesn't mean I'm not going to chant those three letters when it's exciting. It's fun as fuck. But at the end of the day, we do this podcast for this because we love wrestling. But it's okay to understand that we might be bummed if he's not in the promotion we watch more of, but doesn't mean we're going to stop or flip-flop and say we don't like him anymore because that's just disingenuous. And wherever happens with Jericho, we're happy. That's just a whole long spiel to end all spiels. And that's why, again, this is the road too. We don't know where this is going to go. In a month, we could say, well, everything we said last month was fucking wrong. So that's the great thing about wrestling. Just when you think they're going to go left, they go up. So, I mean, think about it. It's a swerve, bro. It does. So we're going to go ahead and wrap up tonight. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you give us a like, follow, give us 5-star Frog special review of a review. Wow, I am tired, so I probably should go to bed. So I must bid you good night. We must bid you adieu. And remember, always
keep the kayfabe.